Greetings and welcome to you. Today we're going to be playing with our seashells. How are you, fancy feathers? We're going to be playing with these beautiful seashells today. We're going to be doing all 13 signs. And we're also going to be playing with the little hat. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Xuěshānna. I'm a scanner and a diagnostics provider. I do not use tarot. I do not use downloads. I do not use channeling. I only scan. Please do not take whatever I say personally. If it doesn't resonate with you, it simply does not belong to you and is meant for someone else. It's someone else's story. So let me put this down just a little bit. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay. So the first sign is Gemini. I'm not too much of an intros kind of person. I don't really like intros. I don't have the time for them. Okay, so Gemini, you are extremely social during this time. You are a social butterfly. You are meeting people. People are attracted to you. You're also having a bit of an identity crisis where you will be doing very well in school, very well in your career, very well at work. You're pretty much a straight A student or always getting promoted, managing, directing, entrepreneurship, freelance. And the issue with you is being too open and not knowing how to set boundaries. So you are also having a bit of an identity crisis with your orientation, I want to say, where there are a lot of people that are attracted to you that are of the same gender that may confuse you, but at the same time, that is what you are attracting because you intentionally wore a wardrobe with an intention to make you look like a certain gender. So you have succeeded in attracting whatever gender that is, and now you're kind of confused about it when really you kind of knew all along that it was kind of like an experiment. So it's important for you to not be so open and learn how to guard yourself. Learn how to guard your energy. You are pretty good with your intuition, so use it when it comes to your social life because sometimes you will be talking to very dangerous people and you will let them stay close to you. This is kind of a dangerous time for a Gemini to be dating. I don't really recommend that you date anybody because there are too many predators around. Okay, that is all the messages that I have for Gemini. Is basically to focus on your true essence and your true identity that is not influenced. Because if you allow the television to influence you, your style, your wardrobe, it's not going to influence you in a positive way. Okay, so let's move on to the next sign today. Okay, so we have Libra. Libra, Libra, Libra. Okay, so Libra, you are not satisfied with your life. You are not happy with your life. You are not enjoying your life. You feel a constant sickness. I suggest that Libra try to figure out how to clear yourself, because Libra, you're always spending a lot of money on services. And sometimes when sometimes we have to learn how to clear things ourselves. You know what I mean? And not only that, but we have to learn to own up to why the pattern keeps continuing. Usually, when a pattern keeps continuing, is because there's something we're not willing to let go of that caused the problem to begin with. This could be substance abuse or alcohol. You're not happy where you're living. You're not happy in that town. You might say that you are, but you're not fulfilled, you know. Being in a happy mood is one thing, but you're not feeling fulfilled. You have all your needs met. You're able to pay your bills for the most part. If you ever lend, if someone ever lends you money, you're usually able to pay it back quickly. So you have everything that you need, but there's something missing. It's a different kind of culture, a different kind of way of believing, a different kind of way of living. For the most part, I don't feel that if Libra is single, I don't feel that you are meant to be with somebody who is a local, like whoever you consider a local of where you've been living your whole life. I don't feel like the person that is meant for you is going to be a local of the place you've always been living in. I feel like the person that is meant for you is someone who's going to be from a different country, a different mindset, a different perspective. I don't feel that a local that is a local of where you've been living your whole life is going to treat you how you deserve, because most people in that country don't honor relationships, love, respecting the female. Like there's different countries that honor tradition, and other countries where there's just a lot of like sadistic people and incels. And it's like you're living in a country where there's a lot of incels and sadistic people that just get off watching women be abused. Okay, I don't know why, but that's what I get for you. We've had this discussion before of you exploring different places to live. I just want to make sure that it's still moving, that my numbers are still moving. So I highly recommend exploring, moving to another country. And as you do that, you will find that you have a sibling or a bestie that would be willing to move with you, so it doesn't have to be an alone battle. A lot of people want to leave the country where you're at, and it's not a secret, or it's not uncommon to try to do so. I feel like there is an opening to do so, and I feel like that opening is going to close in on people, where it's going to be very difficult to travel in the future, and people should have kind of already moved by now. But if you still haven't moved, I feel like there's still an opportunity to move somewhere where you can opt out from what you want to opt out of. And in here are two lovers, and those two lovers represent you and your person that I believe would be happiest in a different country together. That is all that I have for you, Libra. Moving on along. Who wants to be next? Okay, we have Virgo. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Oh, okay. That's so funny, isn't it? Should we do some more? That's never happened before. Let's try to add some more. Okay. All right. So, Virgo, you feel like your voice is not being heard. You feel like you're losing your voice. You feel like you have to yell. You feel like people can't hear you, like people don't understand you, like people don't acknowledge you, that people can't give you time. And the people that you love, that you want to support you, are always busy. They're always busy. They're always stressed out. They can't give you 5 full minutes without grabbing the phone. And then they get mad at you because you're always online, but they're never available to acknowledge you. At school or at your place of work, it's the same thing. You feel like people are just on another dimension, like people are just like you have a couple of friends, but you feel like you have to wear a mask for the most part. Like you can't really be your true self. So you've been kind of depressed about the fact that you have to kind of be this character that you don't really want to be, you know, and you're just kind of going along with it and seeing where life takes you. You're tired of always having limits and restrictions. You're tired of always being held back in some way. You're tired of always feeling like you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel. You're not interested in dating because you want to stabilize your mental health first, your sanity, and you want to feel more secure. You feel like that's never going to happen. You feel like that you can't even be secure on your own. How are you going to, impress anybody? But that's a big lie. A lot of men think that you need a lot to impress a girl. And I believe that you need a lot to impress the wrong girl, and the right girl is going to accept you for your current status and your situation, and they're not even going to judge your status or situation because they're just going to love you for you. So, anybody that opens their heart to you, that shows you that they just care about your personality and not your what you have to bring to the table, is someone that you can trust. You don't want to trust anybody who's materialistic or superficial because you just don't need that. It's just a waste of time. So the only person that you are willing to consider is anyone who's just not superficial. And that's really hard to find. So you kind of just gave up looking and you just stick with your same gender friends. You are deficient of supplements. You need magnesium, B17, calcium, protein. I know that's really hard. It's really hard to go shopping these days. It's really hard to find genuine food that is not made of silicone that causes all kinds of digestive issues. So remember that when you are angry or you have any kind of anger outbursts, anger drains your finances. So, like any blessings that were headed your way being angry and losing your mind and yelling at people, cussing at people, all of that makes the blessings, your vital energy, leak. So you have to work on conserving your energy, that you're not allowing it to leak through profanity or screaming. Also, practicing sperm retention to conserve your life force energy if you are a male. Okay, let's move on along to the next sign. Okay, we have Ophiuchus. So originally there were 13 months. Let's put this over here. We had 13 months, and there's a missing month, and the missing month's name was Sol, S-O-L, which stands for sun. And they removed that month, and that month, I believe, came right before September. So we're technically on the wrong time. Oh, there was one that didn't want to come out. Okay. I wanted it to, but it didn't come out. Okay. Okay, Ophiuchus, I need to focus on breathing. A lot of you do not want to be on this earth. And for the ones that feel that way, need to move, because it's very dangerous to live somewhere where you feel that way. And I know some of you might feel like, well, it doesn't matter where I live, I'm going to feel like this. No, I feel like Ophiuchus is living in the wrong place if you're feeling that way. We are obviously in a hellish prison. But where you live matters. The history of where you live, whether or not you get enough sunlight in your hallway and your kitchen, your bedroom, hallway, kitchen, bedrooms. If those don't get sunlight, you need to move. I'm in that situation right now. I have to move because I don't get enough sun. And I'm so frustrated because I got a lease, so I have to wait a couple months. I'm very unhappy with, where I'm living right now, because when you don't get any sun in the center place of your home, it causes a lot of challenges and delays. It's very important for you to avoid the news. You are having issues with migraines, eye pain. A lot of you feel targeted. You have to be careful what you put online and how you do it. There's a need for you to have to avoid being online. I know that Ophiuchus is one of the front liners. I know that Ophiuchus is one of the warriors, because there's some signs that do jack sheep about contributing towards the world improving or progressing. There's really people who, they're miserable all the time and they don't understand why they're miserable all the time. It's like, well, maybe if you did some volunteer service, you wouldn't be miserable. Maybe if you contributed to human rights, you wouldn't be so miserable. Maybe if you supported, you know, people who speak against injustice, you wouldn't be so miserable. But people just sit there and do nothing. And you're not one of them. You are a warrior. You are an activist. You are a truther. You are in the front lines. But you also have to take care of yourself. And a lot of you are tagged, and you don't want to be tagged. You feel tagged and targeted. It's important for you to delete accounts, uninstall apps, delete Gmails. You need to stop doing what you've been doing in regards to revolutionary related memes. You have to put an halt to that and just take a break for a while, take a break from the news, and do things that are the complete opposite. It confuses the enemy when you go into your inner child mode and start drawing, start painting, start playing a musical instrument, start writing some poetry. Take a break from the news, take a break from social media. There are thousands of other people that are doing it. Whatever you were doing 10, 20 years ago, now other people are doing it. Other people are passing on the message. There's no need for you to do what you've already been doing, okay? Um, a lot of the people from the 80s and 90s need to take a break because you've been doing this your whole life and you've been called a conspiracy theorist. You've been called names. You've been called part of the problem. And now let other people do it. Let other people do the dangerous work. It's important for you to put yourself in a position where you're no longer targeted. Focus on your safety, focus on going offline, focus on going off grid. Sometimes I will turn my phone off and I will put it on airplane mode and I will go to work without it. Things like that. Just work on getting yourself removed from radar for your safety. That's all the messages that I have for you today. Is you are getting too involved and you have to protect your sanity. It's very important to take care of yourself during this time. Take care of you, take care of your loved one, the person, the safety of the person that you're with. Think about them and their safety. And you can't let pride and ego you can't sacrifice safety. You have to think of safety over pride and ego because you want to get your point across. And trust me, there are many other people that are putting the messages out there. All right, next sign. Sagittarius, you're one of my favorite signs to do readings for. You're just always up to something brand new. How are you, Sagittarius? Were you able to stop gossiping? Oh, you see how those fell out? Okay. Oh my. Okay, so I feel like you're not doing well. I feel like Sagittarius has been better. Some of you might have had a relapse because of a heartbreak. You couldn't deal with the heartbreak. And again, that is ego. You know, you might be blaming heartbreak or disappointment or someone not showing you receptivity, but really the real reason why you relapsed or used is because of your ego being bruised through disappointment. That's okay, we're only human. Um, you fell for it. So the way that entities work is entities will work through people. They will bring people to your life to give you bad news, you know, and trigger you to relapse. And that's exactly what happened. You listened to the negative voices. The negative voices got under your skin. Like a friend will come over and say, "Man, I cannot believe that your ex did that. I cannot believe that your ex did that." And you weren't even thinking about your ex. And all of a sudden you're thinking about your ex, and your friend is laughing because now you're drinking beer together. You're drinking wine together. You're taking shots, and you partied and you lost your mind. You did drugs, substance, escape. Um, there's like cheating energy here where either they cheated on you or you cheated on them or you cheated on each other. Um, but you're still trying to make it work with this one, and this one is with that one. What's going on with you, Sagittarius? What is going on with you? And then you're single. For the most part, you're pretty much single because it doesn't seem like anyone is able to commit around you. Everybody is like sharing partners, not caring that people are in relationships. Okay, so Sagittarius, what are we going to do with you so that this stops? Remember, I talked about avoiding gossip last time. This is why, because it was going to lead to this incident, and now you're having health issues, depression issues. Some of you are even suicidal. If you did not relapse, this could be simply feeling like not wanting to exist. Okay. So when this happens, you have to let the feelings just pass. Okay? Get yourself comfortable. Get yourself cozy. It really confuses the enemy. So let's say you're feeling depressed or feeling catastrophic, right? Make yourself a tea. Make yourself some coffee. Make it creamy. Make it sweet. Get popcorn, snuggle up in your bed, watch some crackling fire, and start reading a book. Start coloring a book for no reason. I am telling you, it confuses the enemy. And before you know it, happiness shines through. Joy shines through out of nowhere. And you say, "Thank you, Source. Thank you, Source, for making me feel joy out of nowhere." Like this has happened to me where I was depressed and something happened while I was on hold. I was on a hold on the phone, and the song that I was listening to while I was on hold made me dance. And I was dancing and shaking my shoulders, and dancing to the freaking song on hold. So when you're feeling depressed like this, don't fight it. Don't fight the depression. Don't accept it, because if you fight the depression, then you'll start getting migraines. Don't fight it. Just accept it, okay? I'm feeling depressed. Is there anything that needs to be cleared from my vicinity, cleared from my space? Do I have to smudge? Okay, now you feel better. You start cleaning. Now I feel better. Taking supplements. Now I feel better. And then if all else fails and you're still feeling depressed, then accept it. Let the depression have the defeat. Let yourself be defeated by the depression. If you already cleared everything and you know that this is coming from the inside of you, then accept it and say, "You know what? Fine. I'm just going to be depressed." And when you stop fighting it, all of a sudden the depression energy gets confused. Like, wait, what? You're accepting the depression? You're not fighting me? You're just reading a book now? And all of a sudden the depression just goes away. So, Sagittarius, you have to allow for spontaneous healing, okay? Allow spontaneous healing to take over your life by surrendering to the negative emotions and negative, lower vibrational emotions and feelings and sensations. Just let them, accept them. Do you know what I do sometimes whenever I get depressed and I've cleared everything and I'm like, I just start watching cemetery ambience and I just sit there and allow myself to feel it. And after a while, you get out of it. And you want to go outside and you want to take a walk. You're like, okay, I'm done feeling gloomy. At some point it gets boring and you want to just go outside. And when you allow yourself to feel that emotion, it goes away faster than if you're constantly trying to fight it, because it wants you to fight it. Because if you fight it, it gets riled up watching you try to fight it. Does that make sense? So all you need is a mustard seed of faith, and the spontaneous healing will come unexpectedly. Okay, because Sagittarius, right now you're feeling dark from every angle. You're disappointed in people, you're disappointed in your person, your person disappointed you. You put your whole heart and soul into your person and they didn't acknowledge you romantically. They just kept it professional. Of course, this is not for all of you. I'm talking for different ones. Um, for some of you, there's like a platonic relationship that's been platonic for years, or people just wanting to be with you but not admitting it, and you're just sick of it. You're sick of the fakery. You're sick of the fuckery. You're sick of people not being genuine or honest with you. And you feel like you're such an honest person. You're the kind of person that will hurt people's feelings on accident because you're so blunt. But people respect you for that. You respect yourself for that, you know? And you're so loving and upfront and honest, and yet people can't return that to you. And you're just kind of feeling like giving up. Like, you know what? I give up in thinking that anyone is going to be genuine. And I'm just going to be genuine to myself and genuine to the people who deserve it. You're just really tired of people being like two-faced and manipulative around you, and it's making you feel really, really depressed, where you're just like, what is the point of being here in this life if everyone is so fake? And when you show them some kind of realness, they run. Okay, so Sagittarius, you're just going to have to go into your own la la land mode, because unfortunately, people don't understand your light and might even envy it. And you have to stay away from those people. If they can't handle your love, if they can't handle your light, then avoid them, because they're toxic and poison to your soul if they don't honor your love and your light. And Sagittarius has an enormous amount of love to give to the right person that doesn't play with it. And you would rather be alone than continue to court people that pretend to be real but are not. They're just playing games with you. I'm sorry, that's all I have for you, Sagittarius. Be more strict with the people that you consider into your sphere or orbit, because I'm mad for you. Okay. All right, Taurus, you are next. Taurus. Okay. All right. Okay. Taurus. So you have been paying attention to all of the details of your life. You've been kind of looking at your life very logically. What works? What does not work? What hasn't been working? What has been working? What am I going to continue doing? That's going to bring some kind of progress. Okay. What do I have to cut out of my life? The things that you're having to cut out of your life are ways of thinking, having to do with expectations. You've been having these ridiculous expectations your entire life. That shirt is meant to be mine. That shoe is meant to be mine. That ex is supposed to be mine. That crush is supposed to be mine. That pencil is supposed to be mine. All of those expectations that you have, you've realized have been your downfall. When you expect nothing, everything comes to you. When you expect everything, nothing comes to you. Okay? That is the energy that I'm feeling is you've just had too many expectations on people, places, or things. And that's why you were constantly disappointed because life is trying to show you to surrender, to just surrender the need, the need to want, the need, the lust, the earthly things. And as we surrender that need or want for worldly things, opportunities, people, places, and things are attracted to us. And they feel holy, or they feel sacred, or they feel special because we surrendered all expectations so that only the right ones would return, or so that only the right ones will meet you. You have ended a lot of friendships in your life. You're not friends with the same people that you used to be with. There's a very few amount of friends that you still have, but you've been understanding why certain friendships didn't stay, or why certain relationships or dates didn't stay. You're realizing that none of it was for you, and that you were just being really stubborn in letting go. It's like you can't force people to stay. There's some people that are only meant to be friends for a short time. There's some acquaintances, crushes, lovers that are only supposed to be that for that amount of time, especially when you're healing. So let's say you're really, really heartbroken over a relationship where you two broke up, and the person that you crush on after that somewhat resembles the person that you broke up with. That person was meant to be part of your healing. You were meant to crush on that person to kind of heal from the relationship that didn't work, but it was only a temporary crush for the next one, like that kind of energy. So honoring people who were meant to be temporary as temporary so that you would learn certain lessons in life. It's okay to outgrow mindsets. As you grow from who you are, how we change, as you outgrow limiting mindsets, that changes your social scene. So don't take it personal if people cut you off. Don't take it personal if people divorce you. Don't take it personal because people are on their own path and they're only doing you a favor when they cut you off. They're only doing you a favor. We can sit here and cry about all of our exes. Oh, I can't believe my ex did this, my ex did that, my ex-husband this, my ex-husband that, my ex-wife this. You know, can you imagine if you would have stayed with them? It's like we have to be grateful for the relationships that didn't work. We have to be grateful that we didn't stay with those people, you know? There's also a need for taking a responsibility yourself for your own contributions of certain relationships that didn't work out because of dishonesty. There are people who were interested in you, both friends, both acquaintance, both dates, that would have given you certain things that you wanted had you been more honest. So I see a lot of Tauruses having a problem with being compulsive liars, um, to whoever that, you know, pertains to. So there's still a continued need for needing to take responsibility. Okay. A lot of the things that have happened to you recently or for the past 10 years, you manifested, you allowed, you opened the door to. So you can't be surprised if there's still remnants of consequences in your life. Like, you can't blame anybody for attracting the things that you attracted, for manifesting the things that you manifested, or for simply receiving consequences for dabbling. You know, God is always watching, and there's nothing done in secret that will not be brought to light. So it takes time to detox when we are on the wrong path for so long. It's going to take time to detox from the consequences that were rendered, because some of you feel like you're going backwards in time. You feel like nothing is changing, and it's not that nothing is changing. It's just that you were on the wrong lane for such a long time. And finally, Taurus is figuring out that everything that you put your energy to is amplified. And if you're angry, if you're resentful, rageful, jealousy, all of those are emotions that Taurus has a weakness with. That's like your weakness. You can't help but to feel those emotions heavily. And when you feel them, it feels like they explode. And then you wonder why your life exploded, because you have to find the weak spot and shut the door. Okay. So entities take a look at you and they're like, oh, well, Taurus is taking care of themselves. They're taking supplements. I can't attack them through their digestion. Not really, because they're taking good care of themselves. Okay. And then the entity will find an opening through people. You go introvert and you protect yourself from people. You protect yourself from the evil eye, okay? Shielded there, shielded there. They're finding in emotions when you get rageful. It's the most common way that they get in. So, Taurus, you're going to have to figure out how to deal with disappointment, how to deal with anger, how to deal with rage. You're going to have to figure out a way to transmute it. If it doesn't go away, you have to figure out a way to transmute it. Anger is my favorite emotion to transmute because anger can be transmuted to progression, productivity, being productive, clean the house, go on a hike, sweat. I don't recommend gyms. I don't recommend gyms because gyms harvest your energy through your sweat and your breath. That's why you sign a paper when you go into the gym, because you're consenting to having your energy, your heartbeat, your sweat, your breath, your exhale, all of that harvested. For you, it would be more like hiking outdoors. You're going to have to figure out what to do to avoid these rageful thoughts. It's like you get attacked with these rageful thoughts of like negative voices, negative temptations. Taurus, if you don't have an addiction to substance, if you do not have an addiction to drugs, if you do not have an addiction to alcohol, you have an addiction to dark magic. You have an addiction to dabbling with witchcraft. It is crystal clear here. Okay? And you're going to have to shut that door. You cannot expect things to just go your way and prosper if you do not shut the door to the underworld that you continue to leave slightly open. Are you welcoming your mental breakdowns? Are you welcoming them? Are you cussing people out? If you find yourself cussing people out, if you find yourself wishing people harm, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you have to learn to figure out how to control if you want your life to improve in any way. That's all that I have for you. In regards to love, it's the same thing. People don't want to date people who have anger issues. And just because you're not showing your anger issues physically doesn't mean that you don't have them in your heart. These negative feelings, these negative thoughts, these negative wishes that you subconsciously have against people that you think have more than you do. Those are all things that need to be worked on. How can you transmute that to something else? Or change your focus, because your arrows continue to affect your life. It's the arrow that you need to work on. Your arrow. What is your arrow pointing towards? And what is the intention? And why does it continue to be on the lower vibrational side? Every day we wake up, you either function with your higher mind, or you function with your lower mind. And resolving the issue, is it your home? Is it your home not getting enough sunlight? Cutting off friends, staying away from people who are not genuine. Your circle of friends should be a bunch of genuine people that care for you and ask you how you're doing. You know, it's amazing to me how many people don't have etiquette. Like, there's people that don't even know how to say thank you in this world, and you don't want to be on that end of the scope. You want to be on the end of the scope that supports true humanitarianism, and that's wishing people well. And when you wish people well, it feels good and it attracts blessings and miracles into your life as well as into your love life. A lot of times when people envy others, for example, it blocks their love life immediately. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Envy is the oldest curse in the book, and there are consequences to not altering those emotions. And it's okay to have them, but going through them, journaling them, figuring out, okay, so I envy big families as an example, right? You're journaling. Every time you see a big family, you make a bitter face and you say, I envy big families. Okay. And then you go home and you bring it to source and you say, why? Why can I not control myself? Why do I have to envy big families? Why? Ask your inner child. Okay. Your inner child says that your inner child is upset that it did not have a big family. Your inner child is upset that it didn't have a father. Your inner child is upset that it didn't have a loving, nurturing, protective, emotionally supportive mother. So when it sees a family that has a supportive parents, the inner child lashes out and becomes envious. And that's the homework. Okay, inner child, what other way can we behave? Do you want to do sadness? Can we change it to sadness so that you're not hurting people? Okay, but then you're hurting yourself. But at least we changed it so that the arrow is not pointing to vulnerable people who had nothing to do with your past pain. And working with that inner child to change the response mechanism. Okay, that's all I have for you. Pisces, Pisces. I'm going to try not to tease you today because I know I always tease you. I just want to make sure that my numbers are going up. My seconds on the camera haven't turned off. All right, Pisces, what's going on with you? Since we last spoke, all right, good job, Pisces. You have been regressing successfully back into your youth. You have been successfully regressing back into your teenage years and connecting to your true self. You've been realizing that everything else is external, everything else that is outside of you is secondary, and that everything that is going on inside you and your orbit and your power is primary. You've been working on getting grounded. You've been working on connecting with source. And now you're just trying to figure out how to make it happen in the physical. It's like you have these mental, spiritual, and energetic alignments that you have been balancing on your own as you've gone into hermit mode. And you've been very productive with your hermit mode. And now you're trying to figure out how you're going to implement these new updated understandings that you've discovered and make them reflect the physical, because right now the physical, you're not happy with the physical. You're absolutely shocked with life right now. You can't believe that you're here during this era. You can't understand what's going on in this world, and you just want to live your life peacefully and safe. And there's an issue. There's an issue either with your domestic life, an issue with either your family, an issue with your spouse. There's some kind of blockage that you feel like you can't take anymore, like either a living situation, a housing situation where you might be living with someone that you're not dating, but you're just living with them. There's just something that you feel that you can't do anymore. Like you have an urge to move, an urge to leave, an urge to divorce, an urge to end, an urge to break up, an urge to do something different because you feel that if you don't do what needs to be done now, you're going to give up and self destruct and go back to your old ways of living in a disconnected manner. So it's like you're putting yourself through this divine intervention where you're reaching a peak and you're just like, I need to do something with my life that is different. Like you feel this sense of, if you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. It's like this now or never kind of energy where you just can't take it anymore. You know, you're in this sense of urgency where you feel like you're tempted to go really dark, where sometimes you get tempted to go back to drinking every day and just living the whiskey life to numb yourself out. But then at the same time, you feel like you need to be doing so much better than that by now. And you're just torn between making a huge change and going back to your old ways. Please don't go back to your old ways. So the enemy attacks the most viciously right before a breakthrough. And you're about to have a breakthrough. The breakthrough is going to be created by you, Pisces. You are going to create your own breakthrough. Please don't follow anyone's advice. You have an urge to move somewhere. You have an urge to do something. Do it. And don't ask anybody for their opinion or their permission. That is going to lead to their breakthrough. You are the breakthrough. Okay, good luck with that, Pisces. Next. We still have so many signs in here. Cancer. Cancer, Cancer, Cancer. Okay, let's see. So for Cancer, you still have a huge blockage in your house. Um, some of you might be dealing with hoarding issues. You have too many objects inside your house. There are objects in your house that are cursed, so get rid of all the cursed items. Get rid of your little labubus, your grandchildren's labubus. Get rid of all those kind of things. There's antiques, antique furniture. There's a lot of ghosts in your house that are attached to old objects in your home. Your home needs to be cleared. Demonic entities are attracted to clutter, and they are the ones who possess hoarders. So the hoarders get possessed by entities to make them not throw those objects away because those objects have attachments. So don't shop at thrift stores. Don't shop at antique stores. Your house is filled with random objects that people have brought. Um, And that is why you cannot think clearly. You cannot think clearly because there's too many objects inside your house, as well as too many people. There might be a certain individual that needs to move out. They need to move out and take all their Okay, there's like a negative influence in your house. So, do I think you have to move? No. I think you can clear the things in your house. You just have to get rid of the clutter. You have to smudge it. Take Tibet singing bowls, high frequency instruments through the corners of every single room in the house, starting in the back. Smudge your home with frankincense and myrrh, round cedar, palo santo. If you don't have any of those things, sage should be like your plan D as in dog. You know, you have your A, B, C, D. Your A and your B should be your frankincense and myrrh. Your C, round cedar, and the D is your sage. The sage is not as powerful. That's why, okay? Sage is used for ceremonies and it actually attracts entities because entities think, oh, there's a ceremony. No, there isn't. We're trying to get rid of you. So, sage is like your last option if you can't get a hold of frankincense, myrrh, palo santo. You can even get incense that has frankincense and myrrh, naturally derived incense will work as well. But the best one is charcoal incense, and you put the frankincense and myrrh in the charcoal and go around the house, objects, everything. Okay, you need a big house clearing. I'm getting, for some of you, unfaithful vibes where you might have a person that is not faithful. Okay, and having to cut off a lover that is not only your lover. That's just for some of you because you want to protect yourself from STDs, you know? And some of you live in a town where people share each other intimately at work. You know, for some reason, there's people that just have no morals and they just seem to be all over your person. And if you are in a loving, committed relationship, there are people, there's like negative energies, negative attitudes, negative interferences, like cock blocking the happiness of your love life, which is really annoying energy. And it happens, it could be happening either in the 3D or the 5D or both. But the main thing for you is you feel like you're losing your mind and you can't think clearly because you have to declutter and smudge your home. And then all the clarity will come back and you will see exactly who you need to get rid of quickly, who you need a restraining order against, and who deserves to stay forever next to you and your loving. Okay, moving right along to the next sign. Okay, so oh my God, I did it. I'm like, I did it. Oh my God. I don't mean to laugh. I don't mean to laugh. It's just that there's just been so much drama um in the apartments where I live, and the police just went by my street, and I'm just laughing because you know how sometimes it's like the drama is laughable. How like every day you try to have a peaceful day and something always happens. You know, either email, a text, a knock on the door. It's just like it just seems like there's always something to ruin your peace. So it's not that I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of how there's just always some kind of drama every day, especially for the people who thrive on peace. So I was laughing because a police car just, is at my apartments and there's an incident. And you know me, I'm superstitious. And I'm like, oh, what sign? What sign do I have in my hand? I have Aries. And, maybe some of you, God forbid, are dealing with the law right now. Or maybe you're having similar issues. But yeah, I I laugh all the time at ridiculous things because it's exhausting to get emotionally involved all the time. It's like when you care too much, it hurts you at the end. So sometimes, or often, I will just laugh at ridiculous things because I'm not going to let negativity or the bad news affect me to the point where I'm not feeling balanced anymore. So sometimes you have to just laugh at how ridiculous something is, and then take logical measures. Okay. So, Aries, you have a very different energy from the rest of the signs today. Um, your energy is just heavy. Like you're dealing with something heavy. Okay. Um, like I might have to might have to drink some water before starting your reading, but then I don't want to like pause it and mess up. Um, but I would like some water before starting your reading, so give me 1 second, will you? Okay, we are back. I got my water. Excuse me. Okay. Oh, Aries. Please remember, these are just collective readings and will not resonate with everybody. Oh my goodness. I just don't even know where to begin with you. There are hurdles, there are challenges, there are blockages, and you are not paying attention to the elephant in the room, my fancy feathers. There's a metaphorical elephant in your room, in your home, and you're not acknowledging it, not paying attention to it. I would not be surprised if there are multiple elephants in your home or in your life. I had to open the window because the energy was so heavy and it's so windy. It's getting cold. The sun is not felt. It's so windy and cold. And I feel that there is this energy that hypersensitive people and empathic people are feeling that's in the air. And it's not a good feeling. It's a danger approaching. And when we are aware that there is a danger approaching, we can protect ourselves from it and reject it before it even approaches energetically, right? So there's this negative ship or negative vessel headed our way that is going to pretend to be a savior or pretend to be some kind of salvation. And it will try to gather the world to worship it or accept it. And I just want people to know to not trust anything right now. Don't trust anything that tries to come to save humanity as a false prophet. Don't trust anything because humanity is being targeted, and it's why you feel the way that you feel generally, right? So going back to Aries, because I did kind of go back to the collective vibe, I just feel that it's all interconnected. Your sense of safety is under threat, and this is more on the physical sense. So it's like you've been paying so much attention to your energy in the spirit world or in the 5D per se, that you have neglected your 3D life, your 3D world, your 3D reality, your 3D safety. And it is in danger of being compromised. I'm sorry that the message is coming out in such a morbid manner, but that's what I'm getting. And now I'm going to have to pause your video again because I'm freezing and I have to close the window and put the heater on. All right, I am so sorry about that. Okay, so I have to say that you have about three elephants in your life. Okay. One of them is in regards to your physical location, where you're living, the reason why the person sold the house to begin with, needing to put a house back into the market. Another elephant has to do with communication and lack of action, needing to sign papers, needing to dissolve contracts, needing to end leases, start new ones, and needing to burn certain papers. And there's this stagnation. So, this elephant would be like an elephant of stagnation where there needs to be action in your life, your domestic life. And then we have the third elephant. And the third elephant is going to be personal. The third elephant is going to be a very personal and private elephant that does not want to be exposed publicly. Okay, so there are your three elephants, and the third one, you know exactly what kind of elephant that is. Okay, that one is like your own, you know. So we have you. I'm sorry, I had to move my microphone. We have you listening to the wrong advice. Okay, you continue to take advice from people that don't know what the heck they're talking about. For example, you'll sit there and you'll ask a friend, what do you think about so and so? And your friend will say, oh, so and so, you don't have a chance with so and so. But in reality, so and so was willing to marry you 3 years ago. And yet you listen to that individual. And then you have a bunch of other friends that give you good advice, such as business advice or whatever kind of advice, and it's good advice. And you don't listen to it. It's like you're not taking the positive advice that people are giving you positive advice, logical advice. They're saying, hey, you need to do this about your business. Hey, you need to do this about your love life. You're not taking the positive advice. You're taking the advice that is not true. You have, for some of you, you have friends that are jealous of you and give you the wrong advice on purpose so that you will not obtain what they're jealous of because they wish that they had a chance at what you possess. You own someone's heart. And there's a friend that's jealous because they want that heart, but that heart belongs to you. So then they give you ridiculous advice like, oh, why don't you shave your head bald? And then the person you're trying to impress will like you, and then the person that you're trying to impress doesn't like people who are bald. It's very silly that you are listening to negative advice. When you take advice from someone, how does the advice make you feel? Does the advice make you feel a sense of urgency? Does the advice make you feel like you have to modify something? Does it drain you? Does it make you feel paranoid? Does it put you in a panic mode? Does it make you feel comfortable? Does it make you feel comforted? You know, you have to take the advice that doesn't trigger you, is the best way that I can put it, because sometimes it happens really commonly in friend circles where you only take the advice that triggers you. And taking the advice that triggers you is the worst kind, you know? And there's just an individual that is just giving you the worst kind of advice. And they have no idea what they're talking about because they don't understand the details to the situation. I do see that you have someone that feels like a glove in regards to your love life. You are each other's gloves and you fit perfectly in each other's gloves. That is present. And it seems like finally the curses have been broken. Finally the sorcery is broken. Finally the evil eye has been returned to sender. Finally all of the spite and all of the nasty energy that people try to send your union is finally shattered. finally broken and finally returned back to them. And then they get hit in the face and they're confused because nothing's going their way. Well, they should have never wished you harm. So finally, I do not see any witchcraft energy succeeding. And the only reason why it succeeded in the last couple of months was because of your neglect in a certain area in your life. Your person feels not satisfied with the status of your relationship dynamic. Your person feels like you are refusing to give them something that they are wanting to give up on. They're not giving up on you, but they're wanting to give up. Does that make sense? I don't see them giving up on you, but I see your person considering giving up on the situation because it's like they want they want your attention. They want your apple. They want to feel like there's nothing missing in your relationship, and they just feel like they have told you so many times and they feel like you refuse to acknowledge their specific need. You're finally realizing why people in the past were temporary. Like you're finally realizing why the people who hurt you hurt you. You couldn't figure out why they hurt you. You just wanted closure. You wanted closure. You just wanted some kind of closure, some of you. And you got the closure yourself. You realize now why the people from the past didn't stay or stick around because they weren't meant to. You're finally starting to heal from baggage. It seems to me that in your current love life, the biggest problem has been your baggage. Your person, what does your person want from you? This whole time they've been wanting you to get rid of their baggage. Okay. They see your person thinks that you're still not over your ex. Your person thinks that you're still not over the heartbreak of the last person who broke your heart, and they're tired of getting, the brunt end of the stick, as they say. They're just tired of it. So they're just kind of protecting themselves and not really communicating or not doing the same things that they used to do. Like whatever made you fall in love with your current person, they don't want to do any of those things because they feel that you are withholding. And they even feel like you're interested in a third party because you're not giving them something that they think is very simple. Okay. This one was face down. So, as of right now, there is commitment here, but I don't like this here. Ah, okay. This that is face down is the person that tried to destiny swap. So you had someone that was the imposter. There was an imposter that tried to pretend to be your person, and they were just an imposter, and they're probably the ones that threw all that witchcraft at you. Okay, and they basically wanted you, and they were upset that you did not like them back. Okay, so that person is finally defeated, but not dead and gone. They still are upset that they were not the one. Okay, so you have someone here that is just upset that you found your person and your person found you, and they are just upset and they wanted to interfere, but they cannot. They cannot interfere because the imposter is visible to the people who can see. Okay, and the imposter finally realized that they were being the imposter finally realized that they weren't invisible. They thought they were invisible, and the imposter finally realized that they're not invisible, that their energy vamping was seen this entire time. So their cover is blown, and they're just feeling like, oh man, I can't believe that I was caught energy vamping, you know? So I don't see you in any kind of danger at all. The only danger that I see is you taking negative advice from people who don't have a clue what the situation is about. And then your current person would never leave you. The person that loves you, your current person, they would never leave you. They would never even think about leaving you if you were to give them what they're asking for, which they have grown tired in asking. Okay. And that's about all that I have for your very interesting reading. You want to talk about these elephants? Unfortunately, these elephants have to do with legal issues, and it's going to vary. There's ridiculous legal issues that everybody is going through and fighting. So it's going to basically be more proactive in dealing with the tedious legality of it all. As painful as it seems, your advice is to confront your legal documents. Okay, moving on to the next sign, we have Scorpio. Scorpio, I'm going to put you over here. Is that all? Is that all that wants to come out for Scorpio? Okay. So, Scorpio, have you found somebody? Ah, Scorpio. Do you know that this is just a general reading and it's not going to resonate with everybody? But according to these little collective seashell readings, Scorpio has found their person. Like, I'm so excited. I have to jump up and down for you. Like I'm not kidding. Like I want to pause this because I'm so excited for you. I need to like breathe. Scorpio, is it true? Is it really true? It seems like you have finally found your match. You know, life is very flexible. And when someone is not receptive, when someone doesn't reciprocate, what do you think life does? Source. Do you think Source is going to allow someone to be taken for granted? No. Source is going to replace them. When someone drops the ball, when someone fumbles, when someone refuses to speak up, Source comes in and replaces that individual, not without warning. There's always warnings, right? Okay, I was just making sure that it was playing. Um, and Source tells the individual, if you don't speak up, I'm going to replace them. You know, I'll replace them for someone who is not as intense. I'm going to replace them with someone who you don't have so much past life history with. And no matter what happens, life is really flexible. And if people don't appreciate you, well, those people are replaced. And here we have a match. These were face down, were they not? These were face down, and we have a match. Two people who get each other, two people who understand each other, two people who turn each other on mentally, mentally first. This is like a philosophical couple, a philosophical connection. And then we have these two that are very similar that also represent both of you. And both of you have been giving each other beautiful advice. You've been having a beautiful friendship. You've been looking forward to each other's interactions online. There might be a little shyness around talking over the phone, but eventually you two will be talking over the phone if you haven't already. You live in different households. Some of you might even live in different countries, and you're looking to overcome this obstacle of distance. You might be in a long distance relationship or just living in the same city and feeling distance in physical distance that you're looking to solve. And when it finally is solved and you get together, it's going to be an amazing sexual experience. Okay. That's all the message that I have for you, Scorpio. That's all that I have for you. It was very short and straight to the point. Let's move on to Aquarius. Aquarius. Let's see how many I have left. Okay. You know what? Let me reshuffle that. I didn't really shuffle. Let's really shuffle for Aquarius. Oh, let's take the ones that fell. Okay, so the haters continue. You know, the haters continue. You have people that want harm. There's people that wish you harm. You have to be careful with the people who wish you harm in your life. I highly recommend that you leave a certain job. I feel like you're being targeted at your job, and you have been, and you haven't left this job because you make really good money. You make a really good money in this job, but it has an expense, and you are having to sacrifice or exchange constant evil eye. Oh, my stomach wants to growl. I'm going to have to eat a snack because I don't like my stomach growling during readings. I will be right back. Okay, we're back. Okay, so I got my tea. Oh my goodness. All right, Aquarius, we are back. I got my tea. And where were we? So we were talking about the haters. So I get that a lot of you Aquariuses, especially females, you work at either a restaurant, around food, a lounge, a cocktail server, bottle service, that kind of thing. And you make a lot of money, but you have to sacrifice, I want to say, your safety sometimes because you're not that good at clearing out people's energy. So you tend to go home with other people's energy and other people's burdens that people dump on you. People have been using you as a dumping ground. Like, they'll come to you and they'll just regurgitate all their problems and then walk away and not even ask you how you're doing. Okay, so like that kind of energy. And then once you start telling them how you're doing, they don't really care. They just want to know that you're not doing good. They just want to hear about how bad you're doing so they can go and talk to others about how bad you're doing. So there's just a lot of like two-faced energies, like people who are just two-faced. And I just think that you should start your own business, Aquarius, because you don't need this. You don't need this when you're able to produce or create something on your own. You don't need to be working under a head. You don't need to be working under somebody else. There's somebody else that tells you what to do, and it is restricting your life. Yes, there is a flow. I see the financial flow, but it's restricted and taxed and divided. And you can do a lot better if you find a way to invest on your own business, trades, I want to say. For some of you, you don't know what that is. And just because you don't know how to start a business does not mean that you cannot be extremely successful. Okay. Some people have an idea of what they want to do as a business if they had more funds to invest in it. Others have no idea, but they're motivated. And Aquarius, you have enough motivation to light the match. You have enough motivation and creativity to start the fire of success. So even if you don't know where to start, sometimes that's easier because then you can find a company that already knows what they're doing and just work for them, but you'll still be working for yourself. You'll just be working with a partner or a franchise. So resales, I want to say resales. And I don't know why resales are frowned upon. People look down like, "Oh, you're the middleman," or you're the you know the the resalesman or resaleswoman. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with you buying something in bulk and selling it individually for a company that needs exactly that, where you have more control over what shifts you work, what hours you work, for how long, and you have nobody telling you what to do. You just have a partner. So, Aquarius, I recommend that you find a business partner so that you're no longer being told what to do, because wherever you're working now, even though they're giving you money, they are restricting you in some kind of way. They are in the way. It's like, let's say there's an Aquarius here that does know what they want to do with their life. Like, let's say it's paintings, okay? Let's say that you make these amazing paintings that people want to purchase and you sell them online, and you're really, your dream is to pay your rent and your bills with just your paintings. It makes you cry just thinking about it because you're so passionate about it, right? So let's say because of this other job that you have where you're being told what to do, they sit there and they give you your schedule and they say, "Here, Aquarius, you're going to be here on Monday, on Wednesday, on Sunday, at 4, at 12, at 3." So then you have all the schedule, right? And you become exhausted. You become exhausted under someone else's schedule. You become exhausted under someone else dictating to you. When deep down inside, Aquarius wants to kind of low key work from home, you know? And you want to make these paintings, and you know that you can make a living with these paintings, but you just never get them done because you're always on someone else's schedule. And then when you do have time, all you want to do is rest and replenish because you're having to recover from having to deal with other people's evil eye at your job. And that affects you. And then you don't know what to paint whenever you have the day off. And then the next day it's time to go back to work again. So I would like to see Aquarius in a situation where you no longer are under someone else's schedule and you are on your own. For some of you, completely quitting your job and painting full time or doing whatever it is that you do passionately full time. Be careful. Be careful when you do that. See if you have a support system to fall back on just in case things don't go well, because it's difficult to act fully on certain investments, right? But that's what I get for you. Okay, let's move on along. And we have Cappy. Oh, there's still one in there. Interesting. Okay, so Capricorn, you were almost last today. We're going to put you over there. How are Capricorns doing since your last reading? I'm feeling a nervous energy. Like, I think that Capricorns are really nervous about something. They're nervous about their destiny. They're nervous about their traumas. Capricorn has this trauma since childhood that was learned, where you kind of expect the worst because you saw someone be overly critical or overly careful, like a mother figure that was just always doing preventable measures to the point where it was unhealthy and toxic, to the point where you adopted it, and now you kind of have this situation where you tend to think of the worst case scenario. When you are happy, when you are feeling joy, it doesn't affect you. So entities are going to attack Capricorn's joy. You will notice that it is your joy that entities will constantly try to zap away. As soon as you're happy, as soon as you're feeling joy, the entities are going to trigger a situation or circumstance that is going to make you jump up into a frenzy, into a panic, so that your joy is dissipated. But if you are warned ahead of time, it'll be easy for you to just constantly shield any oncoming attack that is trying to drain your joy away from you, because you have such a light perspective. You appreciate the simple things of life. You want and desire the simple things in life. You don't need anything fancy. And it's that very simplicity, the simplicity is the secret of life. And it's very difficult for people to understand the secret of life. What is the secret of life? The secret of life is the simplicity of it all. If we live in a simple manner, that leads to gratitude, and gratitude leads to joy. Gratitude and joy breaks all curses. So that is why you feel like as soon as you're happy, there's an energy that's trying to take it away, and you're not happy anymore, because that is where the enemy is going to try to attack you for the next couple of months until you become more strong in preventing it from getting that close to begin with, because it finds its way too close. It gets too close and you can't let it that close. It is a spiritual leech that wants to take your joy. Okay, moving along to your seashells now. You feel empty. You feel like your cup is always empty. I need to take a sip of my tea, sorry. I'm drinking hibiscus tea. It's so delicious. Where were we? You're feeling very empty. You're feeling like your cup is always empty, and you're tired of pretending that you're okay. You're tired of telling everyone you're fine. You're tired of poker facing. You're tired of fake smiling. You're tired of people disappointing you to the point where now you just expect everyone to be nothing but a disappointment to you. You don't trust people. You're considering yourself very asexual at this time. There was an individual in your life that you felt gave you hope, where you thought that your person you thought that your person would bring the demisexual out of you. Like you thought that your person would bring the heart and passion and love out of you, which they did at some point. But now you're becoming asexually minded because you're tired of being let down. So you're just kind of going on asexual mode. This is not always permanent. Um, so don't worry. I just think that Capricorn is going into, sorry, I think that Capricorn is going into an asexual phase, and only in their mind, only they understand why they're doing that. Like they understand themselves and they feel misunderstood by everyone else. They feel, Capricorn, you feel misunderstood and disappointed and betrayed by everyone except for maybe one or two family members in your life. Besides that, you feel let down by everyone. You feel let down by your ex friends. You feel let down by your ex lover. You just feel let down by everybody right now. However, you are deeply loved. Okay, I know you don't feel like it, but you are deeply loved. You are deeply loved by family, acquaintance, fans, people who understand you from a distance and wish you well. And you are loved by exes for some of you. Um, and you don't feel loved by your current or last partner. Okay, something happened where you were disappointed by something that happened and you don't feel loved by them. And that is why you're kind of staying on hermit mode against your will. There's a time and place for everything. And right now you're kind of on hermit mode. You don't really want to interact with anybody. And the only people that you do want to interact with are the people that make you laugh. So I see you at work laughing with your coworkers, and your coworkers are helping you disappear the life that you're bored of. And I don't see you searching. If you're single, I don't see you searching for anybody. I see you kind of giving up on believing that you are ever going to be satisfied with a partner. You have so much love to give, and you feel like everybody that you try to be with just doesn't understand how simple your love is. Like they make your simple love complicated, and then whoever you're dealing with didn't strike when the iron was hot. They waited for the iron to rust, and there's this resentment that you have towards your person. For cross watchers, does this Capricorn love you? Yes, this Capricorn loves you, but they feel like you let them down. They feel committed towards you, sure, but they feel like someone or something or everyone let them down. There are people that show interest and drool at Capricorn, and Capricorn is turned off completely by strangers. So if you're worried that your Capricorn is going to run off and to someone else's arms, they're not, at least not this group, because this group is in between asexual and demisexual, and they're turned off by strangers, okay? This group of Capricorn is turned off by strangers and anybody who drools over them. Capricorn wants people that they have history with. Oh, there you are. Oh, Cappies. Look, you're right here. This is your person or you, and this is you or your person. So you two, you and Capricorn, you both there's no telling you two apart. You can't tell you two apart. Like, you can't tell you two apart because you and your person are so freaking similar right now. Okay? You're so similar how? You're so similar at a soul level. I don't know why I want to say molecular level. I don't know why. But there's a separation right now between you and your person. You are upset. Capricorn is upset with their person because their person allowed interference, allowed distortion, allowed, I want to say cock blockers, okay? Excusez-moi French. Um, Capricorn is protected. Anybody who tried to throw something at Capricorn, it was returned a long time ago, and the return is so large that it's going to take years to process. It's going to take years for the return work to process because the return is like all the people who wished you harm are going to face the consequences, Capricorn. Like, I could go pretty dark and saying that for some people it's even going to cost them their life. When you target God's children, when you try to hurt God's children who have a mission on earth, the consequences are amplified than if you wish harm on any regular Joe. Okay, Cappy is not a regular Joe. And Cappy is so humble about it that they don't celebrate when their enemies get their consequences. It makes Capricorn sad because Capricorn never wished that upon them. Capricorn wanted happiness for their enemies. And that's the reason why Capricorn has gone into hermit mode and asexual mode because Capricorn feels like they would have never wished any of this on any of their enemies or their lover. They would have never wished any of that upon them. They would have never done them like they did Capricorn. So Capricorn now is turning their back towards looking at the consequences because Capricorn is sad by the fact that their enemies are getting all their consequences. Everything is returned. All the curses, all the sorcery is returned and will be returning for years to the people who try to hurt Cappy. And it's very interesting because in this reading, Cappy also feels like they were betrayed by their lover. And that's why their lover is over here upside down. You know, um, Capricorn has people whipped, okay? And your person is feeling upside down in their life because they don't have you. They don't have you in the way they had you at some point, or they missed their opportunity, or there's something that your person didn't do. But Capricorn ultimately feels betrayed by everyone except for one single family member. Okay, so that's the reason why Cappy is sad. And let's see. Capricorn, your energy is similar to Sagittarius, obviously, because a lot of you are Sagittariuses in Vedic astrology. But you are another one of those signs that your mustard seed of faith is what's going to open up opportunities for spontaneous healing to bring the joy back into your life. You're just going to have to allow spontaneous healing and joy to find you without all these individuals who have disappointed you. And you will thrive on your own because you know that you are worthy and deserving of more than people have been giving you. And what hurts you so much is that what you're asking for is realness. What you're asking for is a genuine friendship from a certain individual. And if they can't give you the bare minimum, it's like a slap in the face to Cappy. So that's all that I have for you. You are divinely protected, Cappy. Last but not least, we have Leo. Oh, we already have stuff flying out. Okay, let's put on the board what tried to flew out. So you've been trying to find the positivity in your life. You've really been resonating towards support, therapy, outdoors, on loop, on a schedule, on a routine. I know I told you last time that there's something that you're trying to escape. Even while you're trying to do healthy things, even healthy things are an escape. Every time that you go to that therapy session, every time you go camping, every time that you go outdoors, you are escaping something, Leo. In your mind, you think that you are alleviating something, right? You're having a healthy lifestyle, outdoor living, van life. You know, some of you might be living like the van life kind of life, and you think that you are alleviating yourself. You think that you're having a healthy lifestyle, which to an extent you are, but I still see you escaping. Are you alleviating or escaping? You're needing to be more honest with yourself about whether or not you are alleviating something, remedying something, putting a bandage on something, or escaping. And there is an emotion that you continue to escape. No matter how much you tackle this emotion does not go away. It always rears its ugly head. It has found it to be the weak spot of your shield. So everybody has a weakness, everybody has a weak spot, and entities do not sleep. They vampire day and night looking and searching for that weak spot. And Leo, your weak spot is resentment. Okay? That is your weak spot. You think that you're alleviating it, but you're escaping it. Every time you do something that you consider healthy, you're escaping your resentment. Okay, now let's move on to the shells. You have to understand that resentment creates disease, and when you don't forgive, you are creating a disease. Just because that person did you wrong, you know, they may not deserve the forgiveness at all, but you do. Because by you forgiving them, you release yourself and you let it go. So you're going to have to do forgiveness practices every single day. Your situation is so severe that you're going to have to do forgiveness practices like 3 times a day, where you sit there for 5 minutes, you close your eyes, you focus on your breathing, you inhale, release, and you exhale all the resentment. And you exhale the resentment. And you work on that for 5 minutes, 3 times a day. And you journal, right? Why you cannot forgive this person, why you cannot release this person. When you have resentment towards a person, place, or thing, do you know what you're doing? Not only are you creating disease, but you are ball and chaining yourself to the individual that you refuse to forgive. By not forgiving them, you are chaining yourself with a ball and chain to them. Why on earth would you want to ball and chain yourself to an abuser? By forgiving the person who abused you, you are cutting the chain. And you are no longer attached to them. But by you holding on to resentment, you remain attached to the hip. Okay? And this is festering like a wound in the sun. And it affects your love life. It affects your family life. It affects your social life. Friends try to hang out with you and they feel like something is wrong. So they get uncomfortable and they might just hang out with you for short moments. This is not to scare you. This is to help you, to help release you of what has been pestering you for, I want to say, a good 15 years. You know, focusing on what feels good without escaping. Focusing on what feels good without escaping. Some of you might be getting married or are engaged, might be getting married soon, or talks about having a wedding. Needing to break family curses having to do with jealousy, where this is only for some of you. These are just collective scan readings, okay? I get that there is a percentage of you who had mothers that were jealous of you. When you have a mother that is jealous of you, you have a mother that curses you, okay? And envy is the oldest curse. And if you feel that you always had to deal with unusual obstacles or delays or witchcraft of any kind, it is coming from a mother figure. And sometimes those are the same people that we have to forgive. So let's say that in this case, it's a mother. You have to forgive a mother, a narcissistic mother, or a mother that was jealous of you, therefore cursed your entire existence and destiny. By you forgiving that person, you're releasing yourself from them. And all of that is returned back to them. But when you have resentment towards the person who sent it, it sustains the curse. It sustains the spell. You know, like if you know that there's a witch who put something on you, by you hating that witch, and cussing them out, you're just sustaining the spell they put on you. But when you forgive that witch and even bless them and say, "Oh, God bless that witch, she knows not what she does," nothing can hurt you and everything is returned. A lot of the bad luck that you had your entire life was a spiritual war, a spiritual battle having to do with a jealous mother figure that really pulled a number on you. They were very jealous of you. And I'm very sorry that you had to go through that. Okay, so I highly recommend that you work on transmuting things. So sometimes when dealing with trauma, because it's such a sensitive matter, I like to transmute um, jealousy in the form of attack. I like to keep that energy and transmute it into a compliment. Okay. So I will take that energy, I will take that jealousy, I will take that curse, and I will, instead of clear that energy, I will use that energy because it has weight. And I will say, you know what? I will take that compliment. You're going to throw jealousy my way. I accept that compliment. I take it as energy. Now I have more vital force because I've received the compliment, and all the negative remnants, I reject them and I return them by forgiving the attacker. Okay, I'm going to keep that one simple. I don't want to complicate things. Your person is madly in love with you and they want to marry you and have children with you if they can, adopt if you can't. And what is holding the relationship back from moving forward is your traumas. Okay? We have the power to heal ourselves and others. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Till next time. Bye.